Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath. And there's no Kastuba this morning. There's no Kastuba morning. We have Mara, who's here. You count, Mara. You count for something. I want to say that. And we have our senior drag queen here. Senior drag queen Bunky is also here. Senior drag queen educator. That doesn't roll off the tongue well. A senior drag queen. That sounds like
take out the senior. I think
take off the senior. Just the great old devotional drag queen. I used to say drag queen in recovery, but he's not even in recovery. He's just trying to figure out how to relapse. He had a little relapse there. Drag queen relapse. It happens. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody, and welcome to Friday. It's Tell a Friend Friday. On Tell a Friend Friday, we ask our guests, especially our Zoomers. People are here live on Zoom. You got to tell your friends. You got some friends sitting on a spiritual fence. They're like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm at a crossroads. I'm at a fork. What am I going to do? I need a change. This is the time where you take a screenshot or you share. You go to the Apple podcast and you share. Hey, I think you'd like this. I think you'd like Wisdom of the Sages. If you know someone who needs some spirituality in their life, presented how we present it. We present it in a sort of, it's a serious topic. All this stuff is very, very serious, but we sort of present it in a very light-hearted way. My favorite quote is by Oscar Wilde, because I think I try to do this. It says, tell people the truth, but make them laugh or they will kill you. Is that a good quote?
It's great.
Thanks, Mara. I might ask you to talk a little bit more. Mara rarely talks. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that yet. I've been trying to get her to talk for years now. Mara, any good announcements?
Yes, I do have announcements. Bhakti Recovery Group meeting today at 1:00 p.m. And then on Sunday at noon, Anu is offering, he changed the name of his workshop to Postural Yoga for Alignment and Alleviation of Chronic Pain.
Say that again. I didn't even
On Sunday at noon, Anu Lawrence is offering a workshop for our Patreon members, Postural Yoga for Alignment and the Alleviation.
Postural Yoga for Alignment and
the
which part two of that?
Alleviation of Chronic Pain.
Oh, chronic. I thought you said pranic pain.
No, chronic. And then we also have our Q&A day tomorrow. If people want to write in their questions to us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
That's pretty good. Okay. I could get into that chronic pain. Thank you, Anu, for doing that course. Anu's great. Anu has a separate reality, but I always call him Drew Lawrence's son. It's like being the son of somebody famous, or he's famous. What can he do? Your father's a famous astrologer, but you are a person, Anu. And I thank you for offering. That's for our Patreon members. People who support us have secret access to a secret clubhouse of videos and live classes and workshops. If you like to support us, hey, it's a community supported podcast. Go to wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com and you give whatever you want. Give whatever you want. Although Kastuba told me if you only give $1, we only get like 10 cents. Did you hear that? So if you give more than $1, I mean, come on. If you're drinking a latte and you're only given $1. Every time you sip that latte, sweet baby Ragu cries. Just think about that. Every time you sip that latte, I'm crying in the background. Picture my face. We're just joking, and I'm totally serious at the same time. Okay.
Maybe we can do another Sweet Baby Krishna next week for Patreon.
Yes, let's do Sweet Baby Krishna next week. That'll be great.
Okay.
I got my kids this whole week, Mara. It's school's off. They're on vacation, although my daughter is going to her new boyfriend's house in Laguna Beach. My daughter's going. I support her. She's got a great boyfriend. He's a nice devotee. She's a nice devotee. And her mom's a nice devotee. And I mean, the kid's mom is a nice devotee. So I'm happy. I'm actually happy. It's like a greatest relief that, first of all, it's a great relief that the boyfriend is 3,000 miles away. You know what?
It's an ideal situation right there.
3,000 miles away from her body. Oh, I'm gonna faint. And then they see each other occasionally, and yeah, same boyfriend, same boyfriend, yeah. And he's a very nice devotee, and and he's like, he loves Tukaram too, and we know Tukaram is like a father figure. He's holds an iron fist with those young devotees there, and they all look up to him, and he's a great guy. So anyway, I'm looking forward to her trip as well. All righty, and yes, Mara, I told Mara to get a nugget today. I put her to work. Mara, what do you got for a nugget today?
Okay, so I have a little poem from Mark Nepo.
Who's Mark Nepo?
He's a modern day philosopher, poet, writer.
Mara, don't you understand? If they're modern day, they can't be wise. You need like Aristotle. We need someone who's been dead for about 1,000 years for me to imbibe their wisdom. I don't want some modern guy. I'm just kidding. Let's hear it.
Okay. Help me resist the urge to dispute whether things are true or false, which is like arguing whether it is day or night. It is always one or the other somewhere in the world. Together we can penetrate a higher truth, which like the sun is always being conveyed.
A higher truth. A higher truth as opposed to the subjective truths which go back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Which we argue about.
Which we argue about on a regular basis. Not only argue about, but we hate each other over subjective truths.
Yeah.
We got a hate pandemic going on. Have you noticed that? That's the real pandemic, the hate pandemic. It's sweeping the world. And we're here to do something about it. That's why we dive into the Bhagavatam. This is our daily yoga practice. Hearing the Bhagavatam on a regular basis gets me off my the hate express, and forces me to sort of train myself to develop those Vishnu goggles. We talk about the Vishnu goggles, see that God is in everybody's heart, not just the heart of the people I like, right? Even the people I don't like, Lord Vishnu is in their heart too. Not all the people who haven't joined my club, Vishnu's in their heart too. The people that join my club is in their heart. People that aren't in my club, Vishnu's in their heart too. And we're training ourselves to see that, even though I may not agree with them. It's hard. You know, it's interesting. My mother and father, one was a Democrat, one was a Republican. And they were married until they died. Well, my mother's still living. But my point is, people can't tolerate anybody nowadays. What does that say about our culture? You're not going to give me anything, are you? Quiet, Mara. No one can see your nodding on a podcast. You got to make some noise. I'm going to have to bring in my dear drag queen friend over here otherwise.
For noises, sound effects.
For noises. Oh, come on. Okay. So I like that, Mara. Now we have a great theme going on today. Very, very relevant theme today. With what's going on in the Bhagavatam. We're reading about after it's over, after all the mistakes have been done, right? We're into this reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. I tell you, without Kostuba here, I just falling apart. And you know what? My phone just dang. How do you say past tense of ding? Past tense of ding. My phone just, and it's Indrajumna Swami. It's Indrajumna Swami just sent me a text message. That's exciting. Okay. Here's our secret mantras. Before we start reading, we offer some prayers in appreciation to, well, I'll tell you who right now. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of our conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Mara?
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 7, Text 45.
All right, text 45. So we were doing all these people from the great sacrifice. I'll be the rewinder today. We all these people from this great sacrifice that went terribly, terribly wrong. Now they are offering prayers to Lord Vishnu. And so now the Brahmanas are speaking. They said, "Dear Lord Vishnu, you are sacrifice personified, right? You are the offering of the clarified butter. You are the fire, right? These are the things they do in Vedic rituals. They build a fire, they put the clarified butter or the ghee into the fire. He's saying you are the chanting of the Vedic hymns by which the sacrifice is conducted. You are the fuel. You are the flame. You are the kusha grass. Kusha grass is an auspicious grass that they sit on. They sit on their mats. You are the sacrificial pots, right? And they have these beautiful brass pots. You are the priests who perform the yajna. You are the demigods headed by Indra. You are the sacrificial animal, right? Everything that is sacrificed is you or your energy. I'm just going to continue on. Text 46. Dear Lord, O personified Vedic knowledge, in the past millennium, long, long ago, when you appeared as the great boar incarnation. So now they're making, it's interesting. This is millennia ago, and now they're making reference to something happened millennia ago. You picked up the world from the water as an elephant picks up a lotus flower from a lake. When you vibrated transcendental sound in that gigantic form of a boar. You know why I love the boar incarnation? It's like the least out of all the beasts in the world. I'd last probably see God in that beast. You know, it's like, that's like saying the cockroach or the earthworm incarnation. Like a boar is like, they're gross, they're scary, you know, they're sort of like, they're not even cuddly like a pig. They're like the evil pig. And so Lord Vishnu comes in the form of a boar. It really just throws my head for a loop. And that's why I love him. Simply by chanting your holy name, one can surpass all obstacles. Wait, did I skip that? Oh, yeah. Dear Lord, we are waiting for your audience because we have been unable to perform the yajnas according to the Vedic rituals. We pray unto you, therefore, to be pleased with us. Simply by chanting your holy name, one can surpass all obstacles. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you in your presence. Here's the narrator, right? Sri Maitreya. Maitreya is saying, after Lord Vishnu is glorified by all present, Daksha, his consciousness purified, arranged to begin again the yajna, which was devastated by the followers of Lord Shiva. This is a great point. here. This is the starting over, right?
Yeah.
The starting over point. What do you do when everything went wrong? You start over. I pulled up a little nugget here today. Listen to this one.
Ooh,
It's
what do you
only
got?
human. It's only human to make mistakes. It's a nugget that I pulled, but I didn't feel like it was a complete nugget. And it's and Kostuba would say, well, who wrote it? And I say, I have no idea. It was one of those floating around on the internet nuggets. It's only human to make mistakes. Now we can say that not just the interesting thing about embodied beings. It's not just humans that make mistakes. Animals make mistakes, right? I've seen a cat walk into a glass door. Animals do make mistakes. It's not just humans. But also here we have great demigods. We have learned demigods. Even Lord Brahma gets put into illusion. If you've made a mistake, I got some good news for you. You're not alone. The question is, what do we do when we make a mistake? So here, this little quote says, you learn from it, right? That's the first thing. You learn from the mistake. And how do you learn from it? We accept full responsibility for the mistake, right? That's hard to do. And that's where sort of we get tripped up. Daksha sort of is representing this as well. He had an attitude. He had quite an attitude. He got into the sort of the blame game, which is a lousy game to play. The blame game, because the problem with the blame game is I don't learn anything from my mistake. There is an issue. I mean, this is very sanguine in my life, right? If you listen to the show, I'm going through a divorce, and any type of divorce, most likely, even if you're hoping for the divorce, right, is painful, especially when you have children involved. It is almost seems natural to find the faults of the other person, to shine light on the faults of the other person or the other situation, or how unfairly you've been treated, especially if you really felt unfairly, you felt unfairly treated. But the process, if you've been divorced or in a breakup or something like that, and especially if you've had things or property or people, children related, the tendency is how this is unfair to me. How here is my side, and it's not like your side. And this has something to do with Mara. You're thinking like me now. This has something to do with your contemporary philosopher thing that you read my mind. Your contemporary philosopher nugget today, which was Raghu has a truth. And the problem with Raghu's truth, and the truth I have is my story. And that is a truth. But the problem with that truth is it's not the whole truth. It's a partial truth, right? It's a partial nugget. It's not the whole nugget, right? And the problem with the partial truth and playing the blame game is what I naturally want to do. I'm going to just use myself. What I naturally want to do is I want to sit in that partial truth, and I want to tell it to Bunky. Hey, Bunky, this is what I'm going through, and this is how I've been hurt, and this is what's not fair, Bunky. And then I want to tell it to you. And then I want to share it with the Kylie Brown and Daniel and Scott the Californian and all the people on Zoom. And I just want to share my truth. And the problem with sharing your personal truth and not the entire truth is that that truth starts to solidify and it starts to become your reality. And what that does, it cheats me out of the whole truth. And in that cutting away of that slice of the pie of my truth, what's happening is there's a chance for me to change. There's a chance for me to improve. There's a chance for me to upgrade my life. But living in my partial truth, I'm cheating myself out of that growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Punk? I'm cheating myself out of that, right? The more I tell my story, that becomes the reality. And the more I can reflect of owning, some, what do we call that? Radical responsibility of owning whatever my portion of the screw up was. To the degree that I can own it, I can change. To the degree that I deflect it and live in my blame, and that becomes my reality, I sneak all of my bad qualities. I smuggle, I sneak, I sneak them right into my next relationship. I sneak them right into my next, dynamic with whomever I'm struggling with. It could be your kids, it's what happens when there's a lesson to be learned. There's a mistake, but I just refuse to learn the lesson of the mistake. See, it's not like, and people will say things like, closing this door opens another door. No, it doesn't. It could be opening the same door. That's our whole philosophy. Our whole philosophy is birth and death and birth and death and birth and death. And that's the wheel of misfortune. I'm opening the door, turning around, going back into the same room. It's just redecorated. There's another woman or man or relationship or kid in my life, and I didn't learn the lesson the first time. And guess what's going to happen? I have to stir around. I have to relive it again with a different person. Don't think we're getting out of anything here. We get extended jail sentences. We are not here for ecstasy in the material world. Our ecstasy is here. It's right here. It's packaged in here. You got to figure out the combination lock. We're talking about Caribbean treasures lately. Lately, we have been. You want that Caribbean treasure? You got to find out where the ships went, where it's locked up, where to pinpoint it on the map. And then there's the treasure. Then you'll get the gold doubloons. Then you'll get the pieces of 8. Then you'll get the golden sword, all that stuff. But you're not going to get it. The treasure's here. It's locked up. We got to open up that treasure chest to get it. You're not going to get ecstasy from the material world. Where was I going with this, Mara? Bring me back. I was on a good roll there. Then I got lost in treasure.
Yeah, you did get lost in treasure. About going in, making the same mistakes.
Okay, going the same mistakes, going into that same room again. Oh, we have an extended jail sentence. That's what we do when we don't learn from the mistakes, and we live in our blame. That's a big problem. And the thing is, I'm here to evolve. I'm not here to extend a prison sentence. If I'm not growing from anything that happens to me, then I'm extending a prison sentence. We are here to grow. We're not here to get good fortune. Good fortune will come and bad fortune will come. It's funny because it's funny. It's not funny. It's sad because sometimes people are on the top. They're loved, they're worshiped, and all of a sudden they're demonized, like in a moment. Right? Who's a good example of that? What? Are you listening, Bunky? He's like, what? He did one of my whats to me. He whatted me. All right. How about Governor Cuomo in New York, right? They loved him during the pandemic. They was like, he's the second coming. And all of a sudden he got demonized and dethroned. And in a moment, I'd love to see Drew Lawrence or Roddy Cage do the astrological chart of someone like that. Who gets all this love, all this attention, all of a sudden demonized. Like, what meant that? And imagine what first of all, imagine what it must be for like that person. Whatever you believe or your politics you believe. Imagine getting loved, like deeply loved and embraced by an entire community, and all of a sudden you're hated by that very same community. What an emotional nightmare. Material world's a tough place. Bring me back, Mara. You got to put on Kostuba's shoes today. Bring me back. So you're like, oh.
Should we go back to Bhagavatam, or you want to keep going with this?
Well, this is it. I mean, this is the Bhagavatam. We're teasing out the Bhagavatam, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyway, this is the idea. No, we gotta go with this because this is our theme today. Because Daksha's doing this. Okay, I'm gonna go back with that quote. It's only human to make mistakes, and we extend it. It's not human. It's every conditioned being. Every jiva has a body, and they're an illusion, or they have the ability to fall into illusion. And so we have to learn from it, right? And then we have to let it go, and we have to forgive ourselves. That's another big one. Because even though I want to own my responsibility, here's where I'm going with this. Even though I have to own my responsibility, I can't flip-flop it so I start to hate myself. And this is a big thing that is also epidemic besides hate, is hating myself. It's not just hating the people out there. It's hating myself. Generally, if you're hating somebody out there, there's a deep self-hatred as well. And we should understand that. And we should understand that simple math is hate isn't just pushed outwardly. It's actually a sign of what's going on internally with myself, because we're actually pure spirit souls. That's our default. That is our essence. That is the jewel that we are. And so the jewel is not hateful. It's loving. It's compassionate. So we got to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive the circumstance, which is hard to do. This happened to me. This happened to me. She did this, or he did this, or I lost all of this. I failed at this. I have to forgive what happened, right? And my past doesn't equal my future too. I have to forgive it. I have to let it go, because sometimes I can rehash it. I can bring it back. I can bring yesterday's bad day into today. Ever do that one? Sometimes yesterday was a month ago, by the way. Sometimes yesterday was 10 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm letting 30 years ago screw up today? That's stinking thinking. That's not so smart. So I have to forgive it, forgive myself, and let it go and move forward. That's all I have to say.
Good nugget.
About that? What do you think? It's a nugget. It's a nugget. And this is Daksha. He is moving forward now. He's had a change of heart. Yes, he lost his head. He has a goat's head. If you're new to the show, welcome. There's a man here with a goat's head. Don't ask any questions. Maitreya continued. So this whole story is taking place between Maitreya and Vidura. Okay? And these are two great souls. My dear sinless Vidura, Lord Vishnu is actually the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices, right? Meaning all of the sacrifices are meant to actually please Vishnu. Yet, because of his being the super soul of all living entities, he was satisfied simply with his share of the sacrificial offerings. He therefore addressed Daksha in a pleasing attitude. Lord Vishnu replied. So, Lord Vishnu is speaking to Daksha, who is actually very repentant. And Vishnu said, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and I are the supreme cause of the material manifestation. I am the super soul, the self-sufficient witness. But impersonally, there is no difference between Brahma, Lord Shiva, and me. The Lord continued, my dear Daksha Dvija, right? That's Dvija means like a Brahmana. I am the original personality of Godhead, but in order to create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation, I act through my material energy. And according to the different grades of activity, my representations are differently named. All right. The Lord continued, one who is not in proper knowledge thinks that the demigods like Brahma and Shiva are independent. Or he even thinks that the living entities are independent, right? That is our, this is what we were talking about. Like, why is all this stuff like karma yoga and worshiping the demigods? And why is that even there? Why not just like, let's bring it right to the top. Let's bring it to Lord Vishnu. And we do. I mean, you hear that a lot in Christianity. You hear Jesus saying, there's no other gods before me, and the worshiping the statues in the temple. He criticizes the worshiping the and we agree. But the Vedas, because it's very complete, it's very, very in depth. It is, we said yesterday, not a pearl of wisdom. It is the string that ties all the pearls of wisdom together. It is the pearl necklace, the Vedic teachings. Mara?
Yeah.
No. To get a squeak out of Mara, I got to work hard to get her to squeak. Bunky, help me. So within Vedic thought, there is people who have material desires. And if you have material desires, that's okay. There's different processes to purify them. Now, Krishna, like Jesus in the Bhagavad Gita, his opening gambit is, hey, you know what? You worship the demigods. The fruits are limited and temporary. Try vidyamam soma paputa papa. Oh man, I was on a roll there. I can't remember the rest, but there he goes. But what happens is you build up this piety, you do good things, but the problem, Krishna says, is then again you fall down, right? You get a little ahead of the material world, you do some good things, you worship the gods, you wear the particular jewel to affect your karma, and then all of a sudden you go back down again. And Krishna in the Gita is saying, listen, don't just try. Oh, I like this analogy. I just thought it up. Don't just try to make your prison cell nice. Decorate your prison cell. I'm going to hang this painting on the prison cell wall. I'm going to get new linen sheets in my prison. Who cares? Who cares about linen sheets in the prison? Let's get out of prison. Let's figure out how to understand what I've done wrong. What does a criminal have to do? I have to understand what I actually did wrong so I can rectify myself. I can't blame the warden anymore. I can't blame the governor for sending me to the state penitentiary. I've got to say, you know what? I shouldn't have robbed that bank. I shouldn't have murdered that person. Yeah, that person was a jerk. Yeah, I was down on my luck. Yeah, I lost my job. I got fired, inappropriately. I did nothing wrong. And I had to do it. I was in a desperate situation. Stop making my excuses. To the degree that I make excuses, I can't grow. I can't learn. To the degree that I make excuses, I can't learn. To the degree that I make excuses, I can't evolve. And to the degree that I can't make excuses, I stay in the prison. Who wants to be there? So when I take extending that analogy of the prisoner, when I take radical responsibility, hey, even the warden sees, man, Raghunath's behavior has changed. That's cool. When I take radical responsibility, the warden starts to think, you know what? I trust this guy. Let's take him out of solitary confinement and let's let him, now you're going to work in the library. My only understanding of prison is from Shawshank Redemption. Although there are a lot of prison TV shows out, reality prison shows. But the idea is, oh, come on, Mara, there's reality prison shows. Anyway, then there is I think in Shawshank Redemption, I haven't watched the movie. I think they let him work in the library. Somebody write on the message board if that's true. You know what's interesting? I was noticing because I'm not on the message board because Kastuba's not here, but I'm looking at the message board from my peripheral vision and it hasn't moved. And I was thinking, no one's commenting on the show. Nobody likes me. But then I looked down at the bottom and said 35 new messages. It just didn't roll up. By the way, if you want to join our Zoom group, it's fun. We look at each other. We write each other secret notes. And if you want to join that, everyone's laughing like we do write each other secret notes. We meet people, we date people. No, we don't, but we do. Actually, some people do date on Zoom. Mara, have you ever got propositioned on Zoom?
No, I haven't.
Okay, do you hear that, men or ladies?
I'm opening it up.
I'm opening up. Mara is looking for love. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that, Mara. That was the first time.
You want to join us
on the history of the Srimad Bhagavatam that anyone has arranged a marriage during a Bhagavatam class. If you'd like to join us on Zoom, email Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and she will give you the secret codes to enter our Zoom club. All right, what was I talking about? I was at that prison analogy.
Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. Shawshank Redemption. Then he gets a job working in the library. He gets trusted. Sometimes they get paroled. Now, we're working on parole, people. That means we're going to still have a material body. And I'm looking at these beautiful faces here. Greg DeGase, Cindy Lunsford, Lori Pag, Lee, Craig Risbaum, they're on Zoom. Paul Walsh even. We're going to keep the bodies. It's not like our bodies are going to turn into like we're going to grow angel wings. Like now everybody's painting wings on their walls and you take your selfie with them. That's not going to happen. You're not going to grow little, what's on my, I feel it's weird growth on my back. Oh, it's a little wing coming in. It's not going to happen. But you're going to change your consciousness and you're going to be in this world, but not of this world. This is what people talk about this in other traditions, the bodhisattvas, right? Christ spoke about that as well. We say it too. We say that the sadhana city, due to our sadhana, we're developing city. We're developing perfection from a regulated practice of spiritual life. That's what we're doing here on the show. We're regularly hearing. I see these faces. Megan McDonald, I can't get rid of her. She's here every day listening to the show. Meredith is here every day listening to the show. This is their sadhana. Every day they're showing up and hearing wisdom literature, and it's changing them. And they probably have some other personal practice, maybe in the evening they do some meditation or some chanting, or they go to a kirtan or listen to lectures in their, whatever it is, they're doing something different in their life. And it's changing the trajectory of the autopilot program that has been running for lifetimes. For lifetimes, I've been running on autopilot. Isn't that sad? And according to whoever I associate with, it directs the vehicle in different ways. I hang out with a bunch of druggies in high school. I become a druggie. I hang out with a bunch of jocks in high school. I become a jock, right? Whoever I hang out with, I'm getting steered by their, yes, I'm giving my influence, but I'm getting steered by their influence. And then I meet light, truth, love, sweet baby Krishna, and something changes in me. I get directed not towards jock or party guy or heavy metal guy, or I'm getting directed by a spiritual force that's lifting me right out of this world. I'm becoming best friends with the warden, and I keep this carcass, but everything becomes pure. What becomes pure? My thoughts, my meditations, my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations, my choices, my words, the food I put in my mouth, the sounds that I put in my ears. I'm getting transformed in this material world. And that's why we have this concept like the feet, which are pretty gross. We've talked about my feet. They're not pretty feet. They're sort of apish. Matter of fact, even Satchidananda Maharaj looked at my feet. Did I tell you the story, Mara? We were walking in the forest together and I was barefoot. Was I barefoot? I can't remember. I thought we were walking together and he saw my feet. He goes, "Oh, you have very, very wide feet. Very good for balance, I suppose." I was like, I don't want to flip them over. They get worse. I need a good petty, Mara. You know anybody, Mara?
I can find you a good petty.
Okay. But our meditation changed our thoughts. And don't give me this thing about meditation. Well, what do you mean I'm not into meditation? Everybody's meditating. Everybody is meditating. Even the person that hates God, religion, your atheist brother, everybody's meditating. They're just meditating on sex or food or money or how to make more money, right? Everybody is focused on one. Sometimes we're here's some crazy stuff. Sometimes we're meditating on our enemy. That enemy could be a person that wronged us. It could be an ex-spouse or ex-lover that cheated on me and betrayed me. You're meditating on them, right? It could be on a political party. It could be on Trump. Yeah, Trump. I'm meditating. I hate Trump. I hate Trump. I guess what? You're meditating on it all day long. And guess what? You could be meditating on Biden the same way. Meditation is not, your thoughts are things. And really, you're just putting hatred in the mind. And if you're enemy-centered, watch out. That cultivates, even in the name of, well, for the benefit of the nation, for the benefit of the world, I'm going to hate you. No, you're killing yourself, people. We're killing ourselves like that. We're degrading the consciousness. We're not here to get dirtier. We're not here to extend our prison sentence. We're here to evolve. We're all meditating. You want to hear what I was meditating on this morning? Margie.
Yes.
His lips are sweet. His face is sweet. His eyes are sweet. His smile is sweet. His loving heart is sweet. The way he walks is sweet. Everything is completely sweet about the Lord of sweetness. His words are sweet. His character is sweet. The way he dresses is very sweet. His posture is very sweet. His movements are very sweet. The way he just roams around is very sweet. Everything is sweet about the Lord of sweetness. The way he plays his flute is very sweet. The dust of his feet are sweet. His hands, right? Little baby Krishna's hands. Ever see a baby's hands? They're sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some warts, truthfully. Not so sweet. Krishna's hands, adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes little babies dance, right? Right? Like we see all the kids in our community, my kids, and they were little, and Frankie, Bobby's daughter, when they dance, and when Amalini was little, she used to dance. She's actually Amalini's still dancing, and all the little kids when they Montgomery at the end of the show, she's always dancing. So when little kids when they dance, it's because it's not so formal. It's just they're just moving their body to sort of like loving vibrations. And Krishna is the same way. When he dances, very, very sweet, right? His friendship is sweet. Everything is sweet. He is the Lord of sweetness. Adaram, Maduram, Vandanam, Adaram, Nayanam, right? His dark eyes are very sweet. So we're shifting our meditation. I don't want to meditate on my enemy. I don't want to meditate on my ex, husband, wife, whatever. I don't want to meditate on my boss who's been wronging me for years, and I've given my life to him or her. I'm sick of that meditation. I want to meditate. And this is what the yogis are saying. Trade it in. Trade in the meditation to sweet baby Krishna, to divinity, to truth, to love, to God. And in that meditation, you become what you meditate upon. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajanti anti kalevaram. What we meditate on, we become like that. Right? I want to meditate on a hateful person. Guess what? I'm going to become hateful. Simple math. Simple math. Anyway, this is why we were saying that the pure devotee, their body is transcendental. That's where I was going with that. Even their feet, right? Even their feet, which are the lowest part of the body, are like transcendental because they've transformed every cell of their body. It's a pretty cool concept. This makes so much sense to me, doesn't it? I mean, not to you. Doesn't it make sense to you?
It does make sense to me.
Bunky, does it make sense? It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I really love what we're doing. I really love what's going on here in the Bhagavatam. I love coming together with all these people. I love it.
I do miss now I miss singing Madarastakam.
Now I'm missing. Yeah, we were singing that song I was just saying. We were singing it every day in Colombia.
Yeah.
Right? All you Colombians who are listening today. By the way, Mara, because I'm being very professional here and not
reading the chat board.
Not reading the chat board. Can you do me a favor and just download the chat board for me?
Yeah.
I just love the damn chat board.
I'll send it to you after.
Okay, thank you. All right, where are we?
We are on 53.
Thank you. By the way, Kostuba is fine. He just needed. Oh crap! I just got lost. Kostuba's fine. Some people are saying, "Is Kostuba sick?" Kostuba's fine. He just needed a break today. Sometimes we just need a break, and that's okay. That's a takeaway. 53, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, Bunky, where do you think you're going? Oh, he's stretching. Okay. A person with average intelligence. I wonder what kind of intelligence I have. Is it average? A person with average intelligence does not think the head and other parts of the body to be separate. Similarly, have you noticed we say similarly a lot in the Bhagavatam? I guess because there's always analogies. Similarly, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu, the all-pervading personality of Godhead from any other thing or any other living entity, right? So we are not, this is pushing this point that we are not independent beings, right? We are part of something bigger, right? And people say, well, how do you know you're part of something bigger? Maybe we're just on our own here. No, we're not. We are actually completely maintained. We are not autonomous beings. We are not living in a bubble. We are not living in a snow globe. We are dependent beings, dependent on sun, dependent on air, dependent on the earth, dependent on each other, dependent on our forefathers, dependent on our parents, dependent on the people that love us, dependent on people that educate us. We're totally dependent. Matter of we're dependent on microbes in our body that we don't. There's stuff happening in my body. I don't even know how it's happening. I don't know how. I'm just eating stuff all day long. I don't know how I'm digesting it. I'm dependent on my body, on my internal flora to digest my food. I love that face, Mary. Like, woo. Okay. So we are dependent living beings. And all the beings that are even taking care of us, the higher beings, they're also dependent. So everyone's got some role in the universe. Illusion is when I think I'm independent. And when I think I'm independent, then I become dominated by the gunas, the three modes of material nature, and I lead, and this is the biggest cause of my problems. Ready? Drum roll for this. I lead with my ego. I lead with my ego. I think I'm the center, right? I think people should start appreciating me, loving me, doing what I need, fulfilling my desires, right? And when the ego gets exacerbated, when I really think it's about me, I become quite evil, right? When I start worrying about me first, Mara, you don't know this, but this is the best name for a band ever. It was called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. It's a punk band. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. When I become the lead singer of Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, that's a problem. What? There's a drag queen on the drag circuit called Mimi I'm First. That is a great name. Mara, quiz. Do you know Bunky's drag name?
Of course. Felicia.
Felicia. Welcome, Felicia. We call him Bunky here, though. Mimi, what was it? Mimi I'm First. That's almost as good as Mimi and the Gimme Gimmes. Mimi I'm First. That is a great drag name. All right. On the board, people, Zoomers, right on the board. What would be my drag name? Thank you. Yes, I want everyone start thinking what would be Raghu's drag name. So yeah, when I start to think about Mimi, and let's face it, I'm thinking of tamasic things. So addiction, that's tamasic. What is the problem with the addiction? It's all about me, I'm first, me, and the gimme gimmes. Right? Addiction means I want what I need at anybody else's expense. There's people that get addicted at the workplace. So they're not even doing their job, but that me, I'm first is making me take my hit. I give up on my job. I have a secret thing on the side. Right? It might be, and we have a whole recovery group. This is not a criticism. This is just analyzing how tamas works. I become the center. I risk my family. I give up my family. I give up my my career. I give up my sometimes my ability to live in a free world. Sometimes I go to a prison because of an addiction. So tamasic addictions is all about satisfying the senses above all ethics, above all morality, above all codes of whatever's normal, above what's healthy in the workplace. And first of all, I just want to say that's what it is. Second of all, I want to say that's not you. The addiction is not you. That is just me. Is it? Mimi, I'm first. It's just Mimi, I'm first. The drag queen or Mimi and the Gimme Gimmes. But we have to get out of that. And that's why we have these parameters in bhakti where we try to control the senses. Why? Because indulging of the senses makes us very selfish. And who suffers? Not just me. Everybody suffers when I live in my ego. That's what addiction is. That's what tamas is. It's all about me and what pleases me. So that's why we say, hey, we need these parameters. We got to cut it. We got to bring it in. We got to control the senses. We got to control the mind. We have to associate with people who are trying to control the senses of mind, because my association is going to affect me. Then I have to start regulating my senses. Then I have to start finding some internal peace, right? And once I can get out of, and then I have, and this is part of the whole package we're offering here, is it's not about me. I'm part of something bigger. And actually, I'm not only part of something bigger, but I'm in debt to something greater than me. Now, the beautiful thing is about debt. Let me share some, the Joy of Debt by Raghunath. That's my new book. It's not my new book, but The Joy of Debt. Now, the thing about being in debt is we are in debt to Lord Krishna. We are in debt to Krishna. He's our dearest friend. He's given us everything. And therefore, in debt, I want to give back. In debt, I want to give back to Krishna. What can I give you, Krishna? You've done so much for me. What can I give back? When I feel like I'm a debtor to Lord Krishna, to Guru, then I want to make an offering of my life. Whereas if I think I'm entitled, we live in a world where we're pretty damn entitled. You know, entitled to how I want this and I want this and I want this. And guess what? When we're living in the consciousness of entitled, the government owes me this, my spouse owes me this, right? When I'm living with those expectations, I can't appreciate anything and I'm sad. It's part of being entitled. What do you think about that, Mara?
Yeah, I need to hear that every day. I think I'm entitled.
Yeah, you're not. You don't feel that way. But thank you for rolling with me. Okay.
You got 2 minutes left, Prabhu.
Oh, all right. Well, you have takeaways, my friend.
I have a lot.
I have no time left.
Yeah, there's a lot of takeaways today. Hearing Bhagavatam regularly gets me.
Imagine if you said, "There's no takeaways today."
I got nothing.
you said nothing relevant. I'm very easily crushable.
Oh, it's sad. Hearing Bhagavatam regularly gets me off the hate express.
Oh, I like that.
What do we do when we make a mistake? Learn and accept full responsibility.
Me liking that.
Don't cheat yourself out of growth and evolution by solidifying your partial truth.
I like it, but it's very long.
To the degree that you accept radical responsibility, you can change. You like or not?
Yeah. Boring, but little boring. But yes, that's true. It's a truism.
We're here to evolve, not to extend our prison sentence.
Yeah. Yes. Milaki.
Everybody is meditating on something. You become what you meditate on.
Those could be two different hashtags.
Two different t-shirts.
Everybody's meditating on something.
Yep. And you become what you meditate on.
You become what you meditate on. Although that might be like, what if I'm thinking about food? I don't become food, do I? Anyway, I gotta think about that one. But yes.
Our regular sadhana changes our autopilot setting.
Yeah, it does. And I got a pretty bad problematic autopilot going on. Okay, go on.
When I become lead singer of Me First and the Gimme Gimmes and I lead with my ego, it's a problem. Problem.
You know what happens when I become the lead singer of Me First and the Gimme Gimmes? I become Felicia. Felicia number one. Okay.
Felicia does a lot of service. Let's see. We're in debt to Krishna and our teachers. Let's give back.
Let's give back. Come on, people.
Who cares about linen sheets in a prison cell?
Ooh, yeah.
And every time you drink a latte, sweet baby Raghu cries.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, all right. Well, that was pretty good, except you didn't boom the music right there.
I know. I forgot that.
Stubo would have had that ready, Mara.
Yeah.
Oh, my expectations. I got to trade my expectations in Mara for appreciations.
You're trading me in, is that what you said?
I'm trading you in. I mentioned that to you. I'm trading in for an appreciation. All right, play it loud. I can't hear it, my dear. I cannot hear it, Mara. Are you playing it?
Yeah.
right, what's up with your? Okay, I've got a confession to make. Somebody sponsored. Who was it that sponsored your mic? Someone sponsored your microphone. I don't know if it's anonymous.
Yeah.
Was it anonymous?
Yes.
It was an anonymous sponsorship for her mic, and then my mic broke, and I took her mic.
I gave you my mic.
You gave me my mic. Yeah, I didn't take it. You gave it to me, and I'm buying you a new one now because I broke mine. Thanks everybody for joining us. Tustuba will be back tomorrow for Q&A day. If you got a Q, send it in. Send your question in to wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Hey, you know what I did yesterday for fun? I went on YouTube and just looked at our videos, and I was looking at comments. Everybody go on YouTube right now and write a comment. Just write some comment today, or go, maybe binge comments. How about that? I think it's an important thing. I don't know much about computers, algorithms, and the internet, but I think it's good to engage with things. Yeah. So if you're listening on YouTube, at least you should write a couple comments on there. And also make sure you leave. I was a little sad last night. A long story. I was a little sad, and Mara knew I was sad, and she said, "Hey, this will cheer you up." And someone on Apple, Mara, I cannot hear that damn music.
Sorry.
And Mara sent me a snapshot of somebody who wrote a review on Apple Podcast. And it perked me up. It perked up my cloudy mind. It made the sun come out. So go to Apple Podcast, not just for my little sad mind, but go to Apple Podcast and write a review if you haven't done it. And make sure you give it 5 stars. And and do that. And remember, it's Tell a Friend Friday. See if you can get some friends to listen to our show, to join our community. We got a good thing going here. We got a good thing going here in the Bhagavatam every day. The days you want to do it, the days you don't want to do it, right? The days you don't want to do it, you're still showing up. That's what changes us. That's what changes our mind, which has a default. And generally, default is not so programmed so well. We want to change ourselves. This is a good one. Greg DeGesu, my drag name. Are you ready for this? Dragu. Dragunath.